Hello, Samson here. So Friday was for book reviews. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do Friday's book review because I've been moving up and down, and I'm in Moscow. So on my way to Moscow, I was reading another interesting book now on the train. That is the defining ticket: why your 20s matter and how to make the most out of it. That is by Meg J, PhD. So the book is basically nice for people who are in their 20s, even I think people who are older than that. The ideas behind the book are so interesting that I suggest you ought to read the book. It has got about three major focuses where we're looking at, and that is work, love, the body, and the brain. So the emphasis is in the book is looking at the fact that the 30s are not the new 20s, so we're supposed to make use of what our 20s are like to the fullest. So diving right into the content of the book, when you're talking about work, there is a lot of stuff that is basically broken down into. So the first one is talking about identity capital. So when Meg talks about identity capital, he's basically bringing out the fact that there is what might look like identity crisis. In the actual sense, it is what we're supposed to capitalize on and use it as an identity capital, where our differences don't make us to feel left out. Instead, they should be able to help us stand out. The other thing that we're discussing is the fact that we've got weak links or weak ties. So you talk about weak ties, you're talking about the people that maybe you've met for one day or two and then you do not necessarily know them, and then there are people who you definitely know, of which because you've been with them for a very long time, you do not necessarily have strong links with them, but your weak ties are the people who make up strong links altogether. The third thing is unthought known. So these are the things that you might have known about you, but then you just didn't pay attention to them, which might become your strengths at a later stage. The other thing is my life should look better on Facebook. The influence of social media that has our 20s is you need to look so good according to what you see on Facebook and according to what is portrayed on social media. But in the actual sense, you need to live your life to prepare for your future all the time. And then the other thing that Meg is discussing is the fact that there is search for glory and to try out a lot of stuff. So the search for glory, you can only get to attain a state of glory at around 30 or 40s, even around your 20s. That's if you found a fortune quite early. And then you need to customize your life. That is the other thing that is being talked about. So when you talk about work, you're talking about customizing your life, making it fit into the type of lifestyle that you want to live and lead at the end of the day. And then in the second section of the book, he's talking about love. So this section has got quite a number of things which caught my attention. So the first one being an utmost conversation when you're talking about love. I think it is David Brooks who says marriage is one of the most important decisions that you make, but we are never given time to take courses on which spouse to choose or how to get to choose which spouse to have. So the thing basically here is, why is it that you really want to get married, and why is it that you are looking forward to having a family? Stuff like that is what is being discussed, because in the late 20s maybe that is when people get to look at the fact that okay, I need to get established and have a family and all that. And then the second thing that is being talked about when you talk about love is picking your family. So we're referring to the fact that we have been told that no, you do not choose who your family is going to be, but when you're choosing a spouse, definitely you're going to pick who your family is going to be like from the other side, that is from the male and the female side. So we look into that. The other thing is the cohabitation effect. People cohabitate for different reasons, so they definitely live together, and for female and the male, quite a number of reasons, because it's cheap and whatnot, and just to try out marriage. The others call it a trial and error type of thing without commitment and whatnot. But the caution that is given is the fact that such doesn't necessarily last. It can easily end up in a divorce if the two get married. And then the fourth thing is on dating down. So there are a lot of reasons why dating is conducted, especially in our early 20s. So you definitely need to get to know and understand why you need to do that. And then being in like is another principle that is discussed. So there are the big fives which are discussed here when you're being in like and on a relationship basis. And you're looking at openness, you're looking at conscientiousness, you're looking at extra veggies, then we are talking about agreeableness as well, and we're talking about neuroticism. So these are the basic five, the big five that are being talked about. And the last section of the book, section 3, is talking about the body and the brain. So we're talking about the first one, which is forward thinking. There is need to have forward thinking as someone who's in their early 20s, and they need to learn to calm yourself, because this is a time where you are learning to handle your emotions and everything, so that you may be able to relate with other people. The other thing is you need to check yourself outside in, and that is the fact that your confidence and everything comes from your outside in, and it can also come from the inside out, stuff like that. Then getting along and getting allowed. This is where you tend to make up connections with people and get to build strong relationships. And then the other thing is everybody, and do the math. So when you talk about everybody, you're talking about connections with people, and doing the math, you're talking about where do you see your life going right away from your 20s, and are you going to really enjoy your life in your 30s, 40s, and beyond. So this was Meg J, the defining decade, how to make the most out of your 20s. So till we meet in the next segment, check it out.